Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to call the meeting to order for the Oxnard City Council for December the 7th, 2022 to order. Madam Clerk, roll call and posting the agenda.
Mayor Pro Tem McDonald,
Here.
Member Perello. Here. Member Turan. Mayor Zaragoza,
Here.
Member Basua,
She's en route.
and Member Madrigal will be joining us after closed session at 7 o'clock. And we have a quorum.
Okay, thank you so much. Madam Clerk, do we have any,
Member Basua is here.
Member Basilis here? We just called roll call. She's here.
I answer from the back.
She said yes from the back.
For the record, Member Basua just joined the meeting at 5:03.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And the agenda for this meeting was posted on the City Hall Bulletin Board on November 22nd, 2022.
Okay, thank you so much. Madam Clerk, do we have any speakers for, any comments for item B for closed session?
Mayor Zaragoza, we do not have any speakers virtually or in person.
Okay, so we're going into item C, and this is a conference with the real estate negotiators. Mr. City Attorney.
Thank you, Mayor. The City Council will recess to a closed session pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.8 to give instructions to its real property negotiators regarding the properties listed in item C1 on the agenda, and those generally are the Oxnard Transportation Center, surplus property slivers at Plaza Park East, and surplus property slivers and properties at Plaza Park North. The city's negotiators for all of these properties are Emilio Ramirez, Housing Director, Ashley Golden, Assistant City Manager, and Alex Nguyen, City Manager. For the OTC properties, the negotiating party is Hugo Martinez with WPH Holdings. For the Plaza Park East properties, again, Hugo Martinez at WPH Holdings. And for the Plaza Park North properties, Vince Daly of the Daly Group. And under negotiation for all of the properties are price and terms of payment.
Okay, thank you, Mr. City Attorney. So we're going to be going into closed session, and we'll be back at 6 p.m. for the opening ceremonies. Thank you.
Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Everybody.
Okay, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We're back from closed session, and we're going now into the opening ceremonies. And do we have to do a roll call, Madam Clerk? Excuse me, but go ahead. Do you have a report to close out from closed session, and then we'll go.
Thank you, Mayor. Council met in closed session on item C1 regarding real estate or real property negotiations for the listed properties, and there are no actions to report out of closed session.
Thank you, and also, Madam Clerk, do we have to do a roll call because we have our housing commissioner, Mr. Andrade? And Vega?
Mayor Zaragoza, are we gonna do the roll call right now?
Yes, go ahead and
include
do it,
the
yes.
housing commissioners?
Go ahead.
Okay, housing commissioners Vega,
He's on virtual.
yeah, he's virtual, so he's here. Commissioner Andrade? Councilmember Basua?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem McDonald?
Here.
Councilmember Perello?
Here.
Councilmember Turan?
Here.
Mayor Zaragoza?
Here.
And then Councilmember Madrigal is gonna join us around 7 o'clock.
Right, sure.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
And we have an announcement pursuant to Government Code Section 54952.3. Each member of the Housing Board of Commissioners will receive $50 pay for convening this meeting.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. And please join me for the salute to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, my understanding, I hear some reindeers out someplace, and I think we're going to have a special visitor from the North Pole. So, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully we can get this gentleman come in soon. Where is that person? I can hear the reindeers someplace. Where is he? I hear him. I think it's right close to Sherry or right close to the door someplace. Where is that person from the North Pole? Oh my goodness, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, baby, visitor from the North Pole. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, how are you, Santa?
How you doing, Mr. Mayor? Merry Christmas.
Was it very cold out there coming in?
Very cold.
And my understanding that we have quite a few children out in the TV land that are waiting, that they've been good all day, I mean, and all week, and all year. Do you have anything to say to the kids,
Yes,
Santa?
I do. I want to remind all our kids here in the city of Oxnard to keep a lookout for Santa, who's going to come around the whole town starting on the 13th all the way through the 19th. So make sure you keep an eye out for Santa. Make sure you make those cookies, leave the milk out, and some carrots for our reindeers.
Fantastic. And Santa, do you have a guest here with you?
I sure do.
Can
I
you-
have all the way from the North Pole helping me out, Mrs. Claus. here.
Mrs. Claus, how are you? Like to share anything, Mrs. Claus? Are you gonna make some cakes or pies or whatever, or cookies?
Yes, we are. We're gonna make cookies for Santa, and his favorite is tamales.
Tamales. That's right.
Tamales.
Especially for the tamale festival.
Oh my goodness, I understand that it was really great, the tamale. I know that Terrell Harrison was telling me that we had a good entertainment and so forth. Do you have any advice for our city manager, Mr. Nguyen?
My advice to you is you better be good, or if not, stocking, you're going to have coal in your stocking. Ho, 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 ho. That's right, some Puerto Rican pasteles, some tostones, arroz con gandules, all of that Santa loves.
And Mr. Santa, I'm sure that the children are going to be really happy that you're here today, and they're waiting for their gifts, and they mentioned to me that they were going to be good. The most important thing that I'd like to share with you is my wife told me, are you going to go by our house? Because we want some tamales.
Right, that's right.
Thank you so much for being here, Santa, and I really appreciate it very much. And I know that we have the rest of the staff here, the city of Oxnard, and they all say you're a good guy, and you know what they all want?
What's that?
No raises. Don't believe.
Yes.
No, thank you so much, and I really, thank you. Merry Christmas. Thank you so much. Put your hands together for Santa. Thank you so much, Santa. Okay, our next item, that we had a lot of fun. Our next item is public comments not on the agenda, and we have, Madam Clerk, we have one speaker that I have here, Mr. Douglas Partello, excuse me.
Yes, Doug Portello, please press *6 to unmute. You have 3 minutes.
Mr. Partello, 3 minutes.
Mr. Partello, please press *6 to unmute.
Okay, I guess we can come back to Mr. Partello. And so our next item is, do we have any additional speakers for items under the agenda, either here at the council chambers or on the remote?
Mayor Zaragoza, there's no speakers virtually or in person.
Okay, thank you. Our next item is item G, is a report of the city manager.
Nothing to report. Thank you.
Okay, item H, this is the city council, and let me see, any other businesses? Okay, let me go ahead and go from there. Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, do you have anything to report? No, sir. Nothing to report? Mr. Basua?
I actually do. I want to give my condolences to the Stocks family. Steve Stocks, who was a superintendent with the Oxnard School District, passed away this week. So my condolences to the family, which is, he's my uncle by marriage. So just want to, maybe we can adjourn in his memory today.
And I just want to share something too. You know, I went to Oxnard High School 200 years ago, and Mr. Stocks was there when I went to high school at Oxnard High School. Yellow Jackets.
Yes. Yes.
Absolutely. Okay, Councilman Perello?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
I have a little trouble. You can hear me?
Yes.
Number one, again, a remembrance. Today's December 7th. Actually, the reason that the United States got into World War II. There are still servicemen from that time in our history. It's something to remember. Was celebrated much more in the past, but also on a very light note. The results of the Toy and Harbor Food Drive at Harbor Fisherman's Wharf, the donations, including a matching grant from a very, very great individual who wished to remain anonymous, $28,202. Questions asked, what do you do with the money? The money is there so they can buy food at a lower price than you would be able to buy it in the market. The food that was collected at the event, 4,300 pounds, 2-point-some tons of food.
Can we work
and
on
the amount of
volume?
toys collected, 1,001.
Bert, hold on, can we work on the volume? Is that too high or too low? Because it's hard to. Maybe Diego can work on it. Oh, go ahead and try now, Bert. Continue.
Okay. All right. And the people were involved. Ventura County and the Oxnard were involved. Both of them helped There were 40 plus community volunteers who helped man the event and unload the cars, and the donations directed traffic at Fisherman's Wharf and loaded the food share trucks and fire department vans. Very, very well received event. They have it every Saturday, the first Saturday of December. There are other neighborhoods that have these, but this is one to any, and that's it. That's all I've got. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Tehran?
Thank you, Mayor. So I just want to remind folks that the South Bank Neighborhood Council is having a meeting tomorrow, December the 8th. And I believe their start time is 6 p.m. Sorry for not having that in front of me. Excuse me, it's 6:30 p.m. And that'll be at their usual spot. And then I want to thank the folks who, from our recreation department and our other departments who pitched in to have our holiday festivities over the weekend. I was very impressed with the dancers at the tree lighting ceremony. They were there, some of them barefoot, some of them in their dance attire, and I was there freezing. And so they have talent that I do not have, and I have a lot of respect for that, especially to be able to do that in full dress for dancing, which is like, no sleeves and no shoes. And so they're very impressive and we're very talented. So great job to all of them. I would also like to thank Recreation, thank the downtowners for all the work they put into the tree lighting. I unfortunately was unable to attend the parade on Saturday. However, I did see posts about it on social media. I know some of my colleagues were there. And I just want to thank everybody again for all the work that goes into putting that together, because it is a lot of work. And last two things, I want to thank Public Works and our contractors with Granite, who are doing a great job thus far at the Doris construction project. And anyone who lives near there, especially in the Fremont South, Wilson, Fremont North, Carriage Square neighborhoods, it's going to be fairly disruptive to a lot of people who live along the Doris corridor. But so far, it looks pretty good. It's being managed fairly well. Of course, the rain came and is, delaying things a little bit. However, the progress has been good. I've been following it every day, taking pictures, and so far so good. And I've had minimal complaints from folks who live along the area there. And the last thing is, I do want to congratulate the Oxnard College men's soccer team for winning the championship, and that came in pretty late a few nights ago, and it was really cool to see that. And we have a lot of great talent, a lot of great programming that comes out of the city of Oxnard through multiple avenues, whether it be the city or our education system or our club sports or other programming. And every time we get a chance to highlight it, I think we should. So congratulations to all of them. Great job. Thanks for representing our city well and for your accomplishments as a team. So those are my comments, Mayor. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Mr. Andrade, you need to share anything? No, thank you. I'd like to share too that and follow up on Councilman. I just want to thank, we had a great Christmas parade, as we, I know it was, it rained one day and then we had a beautiful day for the parade and kind of rained the other day, the following day. The tree lighting program was excellent, and I think that the downtowners did a great job of both the parade and the tree lighting. And the Tamale Festival, I understand, was a very successful one too. So I want to thank Terrell Harrison for that, to helping out with that too, and also with bringing Santa to the chamber today. So I think that that we're very, very lucky with the weather that we had, a good weather report for the tree lighting and excellent for the parade. So, and we have thousands of people out there if you're at the parade. So I think it was a great time. So, and I know we're not close to Christmas yet, but I want to wish a lot of people a happy holiday. So let me see. Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Mayor, may I add more thing?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Mayor, just one correction. I really appreciate Mr. Tehran adding this stuff. The normal site for the South Bank neighborhood has been the golf course. This meeting will take place at the Rio del Norte Elementary School. They have a brand new board, 2500 Lobelia Drive, Thursday tomorrow at 6:30. Bartola Square South will have a meeting tomorrow, December 8th, 6 to 8 o'clock at the Kamala Elementary School, 634 West Kamala Street. That's at Bartola Square South. The Pleasant Valley Estates will have a meeting Saturday, December 10th, 9:30 a.m. They have a guest speaker, one of our council members, and the Port of Hueneme is giving away 100 bags of food to the first 100 people in attendance. And then Marina West, and that will be at the Pleasant Valley Park, 4501 Justin. The next meeting is Marina West, Wednesday, December 14th, 7 p.m., Marina West School, 2501 Carib Street. And again, that's Marina West Neighborhood Council. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I should have mentioned this Sunday is the Santa to the Sea Marathon, half marathon, which starts on Ventura Boulevard with the Santa statue. We'll go down Del Norte through La Colonia, down 3rd Street, downtown, through the west end of town, and then down to the harbor. And this will probably attract somewhere in the neighborhood of about 300, 350 runners. And a lot of the runners use this as a qualifier for the Boston Marathon and other full marathon races. So there will be a lot of interesting runners out there. I encourage you to start at 8 o'clock and watch that. And secondly, is Wilson neighborhood will be hopefully geared up for Christmas Tree Lane starting Sunday night with Christmas tree decorations or yard decorations in the front yard. So if you want to see some interesting stuff, drive through the Wilson neighborhood. It'll go for through Christmas Day. So thank you.
And I just want to share with you that Mike Barber does a great job with the Santa to the Sea run, and also each runner donates not only a fee for the run, but also they bring a gift, and that gift is then given out to the children over. Last time I think gave out something like a couple of thousand gifts, and then money's over for the what's the name of the program at the college, Mr. Newman, that they belong to. He gives about $500 scholarships for the kids at Oxnard College.
It's the College Foundation.
The College Foundation, yes. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Okay, thank you. So our next item is the review of the, Councilor Tehran, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to draw attention that the speaker from items not on the agenda, Mr. Partello, has rejoined the meeting.
Oh, he did?
And I'll leave it to your discretion when you'd like to revisit that item, if you'd like to give it a chance to speak.
Let's go ahead and do that. Go ahead, Madam Clerk, Mr. Partello.
Mr. Partello, please press *6 to unmute.
Yes.
And you have 3 minutes.
Sure. Can you hear me this time?
Yes, we can hear you. This is
Hello?
items under the agenda.
Okay, excellent.
Thank you.
Correct, yes. Before I begin that, I'd just like to point out that on the Neighborhood Council's weekly packet, that for some reason the Cabrillo Neighborhood Council meeting was not included. I worked with Samantha Shapiro and well in advance and got my flyers over 2 weeks ago. So I just wanted the council and the public to know that the Cabrillo Neighborhood Council meeting will be December 8th, which is tomorrow, Thursday, from 6 to 7:30 p.m. It'll be at Emily Richens School, which is 2200 Cabrillo Way. Thank you for that. What I'd like to speak, and good evening, Mayor and City Council, Mayor Pro Tem, staff, and the public. I'd just like to bring up the issue of our overall debt for the city. Over the last 11 years, our unfunded accrued liability for the CalPERS pension fund has grown from 94 million to 322 million now. And this is likely lower than the actual figure with overinflated return expectations used in those calculations. On March 1st, 2022, City Council voted to take a financial gamble with 330 million pension obligation bonds, rolling the dice with our credit card, the taxpayers again. On October 18th of 2022, another 45 million in bonds. Then the Aquatic Center, another 46 million in bonds. The Senior Center with the capital improvements plan says 45 million. Then we have the seawalls that need repair. The capital improvement program shows that that project would cost about 80 million. So probably about 40 million in bonds. So we've got the 330, we've got the 40, we got the 45, the 46, and the 45. So if my math is correct, and correct me if I'm wrong here, that's $506 million in bond debt. The total cost for the interest over 30 years, the city will have about 1 billion with a B in bond debt. And I think we can see where a good portion of the 50 plus million a year from Measure E will be going. Making the minimum payment on all of those bonds. So if the figures don't come up and we don't do well, we're planning for a possible recession here. So that will impact. So we're putting a very heavy bond service on our city. And I'm extremely concerned about it. I'm lived here 36 years. I don't want to see our city get in trouble.
10 seconds.
I don't want to see us have to pull from the general fund. So I really think that this needs much more careful attention in terms of our bond debt. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, any other speakers for items not on the agenda?
Mayor Zaragoza, there's no additional speakers virtually or in person.
Thank you so much. So now we're going into the review of the consent agenda item. And we have one public speaker on this item before we go into his K2. That's Mr. Ray Patel.
Mr. Patel, please press *6 to unmute, and you have 3 minutes.
K2.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Mayor, council members, city staff, and the public. City staff, it appears that you have the correct and true value for the total cumulative cost for this new MOU using the budget methodology. That is $882,947. However, in the fiscal impact paragraph, you state that the total estimated cost for this MOU package is $595,476 over the 3-year period. Again, this is not correct. The total correct value is $882,947, which is your derived method using the budget methodology. That is, it will actually cost the general fund and the taxpayer $882,947 over the MOU's 3-year term, not $595,476. Therefore, this $882,947 total actual cost should be reflected in the fiscal impact statement as the true cost. In addition, you list the total cost as 12.97% of the base compensation. It should be noted that the percentage value for the $882,947 would be 19.2%. I urge you to keep this in mind as you are currently negotiating the new MOU with the Oxnard Firefighters Union, the IAFF. Please use the correct total cumulative cost to the taxpayer when you define the total cost value in the fiscal impact paragraph and request council approval. As I stated before, the city council and the public need and deserve to know the true cost of these benefits. The city council should be presented with true and accurate costs when making decisions. Thank you very much and good evening.
Thank you. Our next item is any additional speakers, Madam Clerk?
Mayor Zaragoza, there's no additional speakers virtually or in person.
Okay.
Mayor, I would like to comment.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Councilman.
Yes, Mayor, thank you very much. I forgot to mention the beginning of Hanukkah is coming up, and to the people of that religion, the first of Hanukkah is December 18th, and the constituents that are of the Jewish faith wish them a happy Hanukkah. There are a lot of other religious organizations, and when we focus on one, sometimes we let it slip through the crack. If I hadn't been given a heads up, I would have done the same thing here. But it's for everybody. Everything makes up the city of Oxnard. Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah, thank you. Mr. City Manager, for the consent item, we have the Housing Authority. We have 3, 4, and 5 items on consent. Do we vote that separately for that? Because we have items 3, 4, and 5 for the Housing Authority, and we have Mr. Andrade here. Do we vote separately or do we vote for the entire 9.
You can, whatever has a clear vote determination. So if clarity in your mind is taking 2 votes, then you can call for 2 votes.
Let's go
One
for
vote
the-
for the council and 1 vote for the housing authority.
Okay, why don't we do that, one for the Housing Authority? We'll take item 3, 4, and 5. And if any concerns from the council members,
May I make a comment, Mayor?
go ahead.
Yes. Let Mr. Rand go first.
Thank you. So I don't know if Councilmember Perello has the same question I have, but the speaker did bring up some points about one of the info consent items regarding the contract we have that's on here. And I'm wondering if maybe our CFO or someone from our staff would like to respond to some of the statements. There was some that there were mistakes made or there was something wrong in the figures that were in that report. So not sure if we want to take a moment to respond to that.
Well, let's go ahead and take that, and then we'll go into the Housing Authority. Go ahead, Mike.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Councilmember Turan. For the numbers that Mr. Blattel referenced in his comments, we are showing a total increase over the 3-year term of $596,479 as opposed to the $882,000 $947 number. The reason is that each year stands on its own, so we're showing the impact in the 2nd year and then also in the 3rd year of agreement. Those impacts together, they add to the $596,000. So that's what we look at to reconcile what the total cost is. If you're making a cumulative impact over that 3-year period, then you get to the $882,000. But you would then have to divide that $882,000 by the salaries for all of those 3 years periods. So we're comparing the total cost based upon the initial year salary for that group.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Councilman Perello, you had the same question?
Yeah.
Thank
Yes. Yes, I would like to say that I believe that it may not serve us well to combine them. We've had 2 speakers come up that continually come up and ask very good questions, but to share with the public, these speakers have had numerous opportunities and taken advantage of those opportunities to talk to multiple members of the finance department. Some people you can lead to water, and some people you can't make them drink. I do not think it's a wise thing to take all 3 of them together, take them individually, because then we will be jammed up that we are just rushing things through. There may be comments from those individuals, there may not, but I think it would be, we're not hiding anything. The accusations that come, whether they're at public comment or during elections, lead people to believe we're hiding something. This councilman's not hiding anything. That's my suggestion.
Okay, now, I'm not sure exactly what that meant, but we have 3 items for the Housing Authority.
Mr. Mayor, I would move items 3, 4, and 5 under the Housing Authority as a separate vote.
Okay, let's
and then
go.
return to the full or the rest of info consent after that.
Okay, why don't we do that? So, do I have a motion on that? Got a
Did you
motion?
hear my,
Say that again?
Councilmember, the motion was to take items 3, 4, and 5,
4, and 5.
which are all Housing Authority votes, do them first and then come
then
back
go
for
to
the
the next one.
remainder.
And we got a first and a second. First by Mayor Pro Tem, second by Council Basua. To take those 3 items for the Housing Authority, 3, 4, and 5. Okay?
did you hear my comments?
I did, but it doesn't apply to 3, 4, and 5. Those are Housing Authority.
It's Housing Authority items.
That's why we're gonna return to the other items later, and then if we decide to split them out, we can do that then.
Do you have questions on item 3, 4, and 5? Do you, that we can answer before we take a vote?
Mayor, did you hear my comments, or are you waiting for me to say something? It shows that my icon is on to speak. I don't know.
No, Councilmember, my motion was to take items 3, 4, and 5, which are simply Housing Authority items, and vote on them individually.
and vote independently on those 3, 4, and
And
5.
they are not anything to do with contracts or budget appropriations.
He might not be able to hear us.
I can't.
I don't, yeah, I don't know.
Can you hear him clearly?
Councilmember Perrello, can you hear us? Yeah, I don't think he can hear us.
Mayor?
Yes, go ahead, Gerard.
He's connected up.
Can you hear us clearly?
I was just going to say, I suspect there may be a delay on Councilmember Perillo's end for his internet connection. If he's in his office wirelessly, that may be what's occurring here. That's just my guess.
Because what we're doing now, Councilman Tehran, is taking items 3, 4, and 5 of the Housing Authority. We had a motion by Mayor Pro Tem, second by Basua. And
Yes, and I'm prepared to vote on those 3 items.
yeah. So let's go roll call.
Mayor Pro Tem McDonald,
Yes.
Member Basua,
Aye.
Commissioner Vega,
Aye.
Commissioner Andrade,
Aye.
Councilmember Perrello, Member Tehran,
Yes.
Mayor Zaragoza,
Yes.
motion passes.
Did we get Perrello? I didn't hear.
I don't think he's hearing us.
I don't think he can hear us.
He's still on, but I don't hear you guys.
Okay, so, Mr. City Attorney, what?
So that was the Housing Authority vote on items 3, 4, and 5 of the consent agenda. Now, some of those do also have council action, so a separate vote when we take the council consent will cover those items too. So the Housing Authority items have been voted on.
And we approved. Okay, now we go to the remaining items. So council members, do you have any questions on the remaining items that we have, including some of the 3, 4, and 5 that are considered by the council? Do we have any concerns?
I'm good. I will move the recommended action when we're ready.
Any? Second?
Third? Second, yes.
Second?
I'll second.
Okay, Councilman Tehran, any questions on any one of those remaining items? Or including?
No, my questions were answered. Thank you. Just out of concern for the process, can we confirm that Councilmember Perrello can hear us and he's able to vote on this?
We're
working on that right now.
Let's send him
Yeah.
over
Okay.
to make sure that. That's our concern too, Councilmember. So we're waiting for Councilman Perrello, see if we can take care of the audio on his part.
Maybe he can just come back, sit in the corner.
So it was a first by Mayor Pro Tem, second by you.
No, first by me, second by Mayor.
Okay. We can continue?
I would say just go ahead and take the vote.
Okay, so we have a first by Councilman Basua and second by Mayor Pro Tem. Roll call?
Councilmember Basua,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem McDonald,
Yes.
Councilmember Tehran,
Yes.
Chair Zaragoza,
Yes,
motion passes.
thank you. Okay.
Can we
Dee,
just,
can you state the vote, please? Just the number affirmative.
Motion passes 4-0.
and if I can ask for a 5-minute recess?
Okay.
Thank
Let's
you.
go ahead and take a 5-minute recess. Thank you. We're back from our little recess here. So our next item is L1. This is a public hearing, December 7th, 2022. City Council Item L1, General Plan Amendment to the 2030 Safety and Hazards. This is a time and place set for the public hearing on L1, Community Development Department. Subject is General Plan Amendment to the 2030 Safety and Hazards Chapter Planning and Zoning Permit Number 22620-01. The recommendation is that the City Council conduct a public hearing and approve a resolution, one, amending the Safety and Hazards Chapter 6, and implementation of Chapter 9 of the city's 2030 General Plan to make reference to the Local Hazards Mitigation Plan, and to determine that the amendment is exempt from the review under the California Environmental Quality Act pursuant to CEQA Guidelines Section 15061B3. We start off with the city clerk's certification and publication and written communications, if any. Madam Clerk?
Mayor Zaragoza, there was a legal notice for this public hearing published in the Vida newspaper on November 24, 2022. The city clerk's office has not received any written communications on this item.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. So members of the public were invited to sign up to speak on this item on the city website, and a person that did not sign up can do so now by submitting a speaker's card or following the instructions posted on the agenda for this meeting and on the city website at oxnard.org city meetings. Planning and Sustainability Manager Kathleen Mallory and Principal Planner Jasmine Kim, in accordance with the Measure M, posted a video presentation regarding this item and are available to answer any brief clarifying questions council members may have before we take any public testimony on this item. The council will deliberate after the public hearing has been closed. Do any council members have any questions at this time? No, council members? Councilmember Tehran?
Thank you, Mayor. I'm wondering if staff would be willing just to briefly summarize this item we have in front of us so that folks have that for the record.
Okay. Ms. Mallory?
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor Pro Tem. Kathleen Mallory, Planning and Sustainability Manager for the city. Council approved a multi-hazard jurisdictional plan which looks at how, as a county, we will be addressing man-made and natural hazards. There are certain requirements that that multi-hazard jurisdictional plan has to encompass and address. Every 5 years, we update that plan, and it is a standard template of how you deal with man-made and natural hazards throughout the county. Each city is required to adopt it, and then it comes as a local plan, and then it comes together and is memorialized at the county. And it's a plan in the event that a hazard happens, and it establishes how we'll address that hazard within our jurisdiction. We are then required to adopt it locally, which for our local hazard mitigation, which is a piece of that multi-jurisdictional plan. Council took action to approve that earlier this year in September, on September 20th at your council meeting. And the item before you this evening is to ensure that we're able to take advantage of funding, FEMA funding, in the event of a natural or man-made hazard. There's some very specific language that has to be included in our safety element, and that is in addition to a brand new language, SH 4.9, in terms of establishing language in the event that we need to secure FEMA funding. That is standard language that has been supported by FEMA and OES, and there is no reference to a year because, as I mentioned, every 5 years that local hazard mitigation plan and multi-jurisdictional plan needs to be refreshed and updated. So this is procedural, and I'm happy to answer any other questions should council have any.
Can I add a little bit to the council member's question there? How many jurisdictions belong to the? Yes.
How many? Excuse me, Mayor. What was your question?
How many jurisdictions belong to the whole process?
I'm not aware of how many, I mean, this is a standard that occurs throughout California. In our location, it's the county and then the 10 other jurisdictions. Combined, we make up the multi-hazard jurisdictional plan.
But does that include the whole 10 cities and the county?
Yes, yes, it does, Mayor.
And again, you said this is for funding in case of a disaster.
That's correct, Mayor.
Councilman Tehran, my apologies. Any additional questions?
Carl, thank you for the supplemental question. Thank you, Ms. Mallory, for the explanation on that. I think as procedural as this item may be, it is a very important one, and you know, folks should know that we have those items in place, as do all the other jurisdictions. And thank you for the presentation. I want to point out the presentation was 5 minutes long, and there are 17 views total right now. There are 6 council members who watched it, and then Ms. Mallory, I'm sure, watched it again, as did Ms. Kim. And so it's unfortunate because of Measure M that it prohibited folks tonight from seeing this presentation, having context to this item in front of us. But I just wanted to thank you for that. When I saw that low number, I thought it was important to at least let the public know what this is. Thank you.
Ms. Mallory, a good presentation too, by the way. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, and Councilmember Perello.
Appreciate the presentation. I'd like to make a suggestion to staff, and I think it would be better for the full council, not committees. With respect to FEMA being involved in this, in the past, FEMA was involved and Ventura County helped us tremendously, and Ms. Klima was one of the first challenges she had, and they created a red team and she kicked butt, and we got tremendous amount of success with that red team. I want to make sure that we're working hand in hand with the county, and so that we don't let anything slip through the crack. We got a heads up from somebody at the county in this, and I trust our staff. But the point about sharing with the public, because of the rules with respect to FEMA, flood, high tide, I think a video of 5 minutes, 10 minutes, presentation of the new construction taking place on Mandalay Beach Road, the cranes and the pile drivers and everything that are going in there because of the new requirements. Wagon wheel development with the floodgate, which eventually we will get on Ventura Road. I think that should be brought up to speed for the entire council, because I do know that there are areas of the Oxnard that I don't know about, and I would like to have all the council members know about this stuff. It's not cheap, it's expensive, and it's a health, safety, and welfare issue. And I believe we make a mistake if we don't share what's going on with the public. Again, thank you for the presentation. And I just want to make sure we're working hand in hand with the county on this. My comments, thank you.
Thank you. Council members, any other questions? If not, Madam Clerk, do we have any speakers on this item, either virtually or in the audience?
Mayor Zaragoza, we have no public speakers for this item, virtually or in person.
Okay, since we have no public speakers on this item, then I'm closing the public hearing at this time. And council members, any additional comments, or we need a motion, entertain a motion at this time?
I will move the recommended action.
Okay, motion by Basua, second by Councilmember Perello. Roll call.
Member Basua?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem McDonald?
Aye.
Councilmember Perello? Yes. Councilmember Tehran?
Yes.
Mayor Zaragoza?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. Our next item is M1, is the Reports Community Development Department. Subject is...
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
I apologize, but I'm going to declare a conflict on this, as I likely live within one of the limits that PPC has put out there. I'm not sure which one they would use. I'm not going to take a chance and recuse myself until this item's over.
Okay, so Councilman Perello is going to recuse himself, and he'll leave the council chambers, and then we'll continue. Okay. Yeah, we're good. Mm-hmm. Mary Ellen, Jesus Christ. Okay, our next item is M1, this Community Development Department. Subject is, the project name is Encanto Homes Affordable Housing in lieu fee request. Planning and zoning PZ permit number 22-600-03. Pre-application located at 1101 and 111 West 2nd Street and 1101 West 5th Street. Recommendation of the City Council allow the payment of the city's affordable housing in lieu fee of $473,000 instead of constructing 3 low-income affordable housing units on site for approximately 27 residential projects. And this is, again, under Measure M, it was a pre-recorded item, and we do have Ashley Golden. But before we continue, we do have one speaker on this item, and this is Douglas Partello. Mr. Partello, you got 3 minutes.
Mr. Portello, please press star 6 to unmute, and you have 3 minutes.
Mr. Portello? Any additional speakers on this item?
Mayor Zaragoza, there's no additional speakers virtually or in person.
Okay. Okay, we'll go ahead and. No? Okay. So, council members, any items, concerns on this? Comment? Go ahead.
I don't like the fact that we're not gonna build, obviously, but I understand it. Hopefully this, won't affect more builders, but, I understand. But I don't like it.
You don't like it, okay. Okay, Councilmember Farrell?
I know the information is in the staff report, but we have staff address this. How high are these facilities? What height?
Let me look back at the original approval. This was the development itself was approved by the Planning Commission. It is 2 stories, not to exceed 25 feet is the requirement, but the proposal and what was approved was 1 story at 16 feet and 8 inches.
Do we feel as staff that we can entice these developers to make multiple story, get more people in, get more people on one part of the property? My understanding is we're trying to get away from single story, and I do understand a lot of work went into this. The follow-up question along with that, if we do start going up multiple stories, when do we start to look at having elevators in these facilities?
Okay.
Those may not be subject to answers on this item because it may be different, but I think they need to be addressed for the public.
So as it pertains to this project, the project is already entitled, and it resulted at 1 stories after extensive community input and trying to be sensitive to the single-family residents that were around there, as well as the airport that was in that area. But as it relates to other developments and the desire to produce higher level or more density, that's definitely provided for within our code and is being pushed by many state policies and laws that are coming down. So we do see that being more prevalent coming forward. As it relates to the elevator, I believe it's 3, but I'm gonna look to see if Joe or Kathleen know the comment that comes in DAC on projects. Is it over 3 feet when an elevator is required? I mean, over 3 stories?
We have
So
Joe. You want?
After 3 stories. So once you hit the 4 story, you must provide an elevator.
The reason I bring that up, I don't have kids by choice, but I entertained a question from a lady who was a little bit hot. And she's asking about taking her 2 bags of groceries, her stroller, and her kid up multiple stories in a different city, wanted to know what we do. I think that when we look to accommodate things, I know developers like to get a project built. They like to have, success, same with the city. But there comes a time when seniors shy away from, that group stares. But young people, when they start out, the world's the oyster, but when they start lugging stuff up and down stairs, and they can't just leave the kid out in the car when they bring stuff up, it becomes an issue. So I am concerned. The project sounds good, staff's put a lot of work into it, but I don't want this to be something that some other developer can backdoor us on, well, you did it for this guy, I want the same thing here. always need to look at and see how we can improve things. Thank you very much for answering the question.
And as it relates to that point, council member, these in lieu fee requests always must come to the city council. So at the staff level, we can't approve. So this comes forward, it normally comes forward at the beginning of a process. In this case, it's coming at the end because of the changing market conditions due to COVID, all the real estate transaction deals that have happened. So normally you see it at the very beginning, you give them the blessing as they're developing their project to pay the in lieu fee or to build them on site. They had every intention of building 7 affordable units on site, which in this case, they still are building 7 affordable units on site. It's just at a different level of affordability. So they will all be moderate. And then in addition to that, if this is approved by council this evening, they will also be paying for 3. So in essence, you're getting 10 units, the value of 10 units of affordability out of this project.
And one of the things that were caught too were the interest rate increases too, that didn't help at all. So Councilman Turan?
Thank you, Mayor. Actually, Councilor Perello asked a question that I was going to hope could be explained, which is this item that's in front of us, again, because we can't do the presentation tonight. If we could just make it clear for the public that in this particular case, this particular developer went through the steps in the process as laid out by the city and the state, and market conditions did change, and this is where we are now. I will echo a portion of what Councilwoman Basua had mentioned as well, as far as paying the in lieu fee versus building the units. But as Ms. Golden pointed out, the in lieu fee will give us the value of additional units we can build elsewhere in the city. And we will still get these units, they'll just be at a different level of affordability. And so please, Ms. Golden, if there's anything else that I left out of that summary or anything additional you think we should take into consideration for this item.
I believe you hit on the highlights. Thank you.
Thank you. I understand that we have Mr. Partello, 3 minutes on this item. Mr. Partello?
Mr. Partello, please press *6 to unmute.
Hi, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Hello? Oh, you can hear me?
Yes.
Hello? Oh, good. Boy, we just have so much *6 trouble. I really would appreciate you guys looking into the technical issues on this. It just seems to happen a lot more than my comfort level, for sure. I do appreciate you guys circling back to me, and good evening again, everyone. I would urge you strongly to vote against this request for an in lieu fee. We have a tremendous need for low income. We are less than 15% of the RHINA goals for low and very low income. Oxnard's doing a lot of development. We're doing a lot of housing. We need developers to come in. We want to be a business-friendly city. We want to meet the mandate for increased housing to address the housing crisis. That's all very important. But this crying poor about market conditions, what about the market conditions of the household budgets of our residents in Oxnard? We've got to consider that. Look, you're coming, this is getting backdoored here with this developer, and he's making plenty of profit on this. We've got a strong need and case for every and all low income and very low income residential unit that can be added to the market in Oxnard. To pay $470,000, they're obviously making money. Now, are they going to make money on these 3 units they want to take out? No, but that's the point. The point is this is for the greater good of the community. This is part of one of the compromises and concessions that needs to be made to address the societal need, the city need, the community need. So we need these low-income units. I mean, it's only 3. But we need any and every one we can get. Now, I really appreciate that Councilman Turan has said that the $470,000 will go toward perhaps, another project down the road. I would like some assurance that that is the case. I mean, is there an account number that can track that $470,000? So I hope there is. The other thing is they're asking for the in lieu fee rate
30 seconds.
that's back in 2019. But we are in 2022. If you guys go ahead and approve this in lieu fee, it should be at the current rate because we're getting backdoor on this deal. And I just don't buy this, oh, crying poor. Look, we've all gone through COVID. We've all faced the economic impacts. And I think that the household budgets are hit a lot stronger than these developers. I'm going to miss too many meals, let me tell you. Thank you.
So Ashley, does, Mr. City Manager? can you
We
go
have
ahead?
several responses, so
Thank you.
I'll let Ms. Golden start.
Mayor Zaragoza, we have another speakers.
Okay, let's go ahead. Let's take the speaker.
Caller with phone number ending in 8046, please press *6 to unmute and introduce yourself if you like, and you have 3 minutes.
Hello, my name is Henry Alvarado. You know what? It seems like right now, at the end of the day, Oxnard didn't even spend a cent to build affordable housing. All they did was waste wood right there by the freeway next to Home Depot. Imagine how many affordable houses we could have built for $200,000. Now, I think at the end of the day, everybody needs to be educated enough to know that you don't need to go refinance your house. You probably have a son who's 18, a daughter who's 18, someone who's well of age, who has good credit. You know, have some education as a father, as a mother. Be wise enough to know that you don't have to do that. Because when you do that, at the end of the day, nobody, not even the city council members, and we need to stop listening to District 1. I'm so sorry to tell you, at the end of the day, everybody's property taxes is going over there for no reason. There's nobody of color that lives there. There's no housing there, period. I mean, let's be honest. We're not glued to the wall to look straight and not look around us and be like, oh, wow, there's nobody of different color that lives there. Like, wake up, everybody. You know, at the end of the day, I would hold everybody accountable right now because I don't see no city council members at any parks, not even down the street where you guys are holding your city council chambers at right now. I mean, think about it. Right there next to the downtown, next to the auditorium center, the park right there. Disgusting. Whoever's the city council member of that district should be holding park fundraisers there for kids. Like, make it fun. Like, think about it. Nobody's even putting $1 back in the city. I mean, these parks are dead. I mean, you can't even go number 1 or number 2 behind Channel Islands High School because there's no restroom there. And the basketball nets that you guys put up, you can't even make a basket for the basketball to come down. I mean, look at the basketball nets. It looks so phony. Like, at the end of the day, we need to educate people and let them know, do not sell your house over $200,000 or $300,000 because there's no return for this city. Do you guys understand what that means? That means we're throwing away all this money and then we're complaining and talking about, oh, well, this generation's good and da-da-da-da. Well, at the end of the day, we didn't get to pay $1,000 for mortgage. We're paying over $3,000 for it. Be honest. Any house over $480 is $250,000 house loan. So any house over $500,000-$600,000, that's like close to $800,000. Who's gonna put $1 back in the city? Nobody sitting on the city chambers do. Think about it. What we need to do is stop putting money into District 1.
30 seconds.
We need to stop every district puts their own money into their own district. We need to hold everybody accountable. My name's Henry, and I'm guaranteeing that I'm going to be running for mayor because I'm just feeling a different passion for the city. And I don't think nobody's understanding that our generation, which is, right, 20 to like 40, come on, we're trying to buy a house. We're not trying to live with 10 people in a house. It's not fair. It's not righteous. We do have kids that want to have futures and goals. And think about it. Look at those apartments right there by the freeway. They look like jails.
Thank you.
They don't even look like places you want to live in.
Thank you,
You're
Mr.
welcome. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Councilman Turan, do you have any questions before the city manager has any? Go ahead.
I do, but I suspect that Ms. Golden's going to touch on my question, so I'll go ahead and just let them respond.
Okay, go ahead, Ms. Golden.
So as it relates to the accusation that we're being backdoored, this has been a very open project and process. It's gone before the Planning Commission twice. It's gone to the City Council as well. It's been in the permit process since 2018.
I was going to say that.
It's been to the community meetings multiple times. The issue of affordability has always been on the table. The process is laid out to allow for this ask. It's a very clear process of how you come to the council to ask for this. As it relates to the rate specifically, SB 330 requires that you lock in the rates at the time that he applied for that application. So you have no discretion of what rate you would like to charge. The rate is the rate. And with that rate, that money that if this is authorized tonight, yes, it goes into a very specific account that can only be used for affordable housing. We do track that and we report on that all separately. I believe that addresses the public comments.
Thank you, Mr. City Manager.
Yes, I will just simply add that regardless of our housing crisis in California, we still live in a market economy system. Thank you.
Thank you. Council members, Mr. Turan, council member.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Ms. Golden. That did answer a couple of my questions. Just to reiterate, can we legally charge Mr. Casillas the 2022 rate for the in lieu fee?
You cannot under SB 330.
Thank you. And that's state law, correct?
Yes, it is.
Thank you. So I know that we already touched on this prior to Mr. Partello getting to being able to unmute his phone and speak. So I don't know if he heard already, but and my apologies for revisiting it, but would you mind just walking us through again how many units he's requesting the in lieu fee for, how many affordable units are going to be part of this project, and the value of the in lieu fee and what we'll get out of that.
And can I add a little bit to that too? That money is going to additional affordable housing in the future, right? The 473,000.
Yes, so the project was approved for 3 units at the low income level and 4 units at the moderate for a total of 7 units. What the developer is asking for now is to still provide on-site 7 affordable units, but those would all be at the moderate income. And then in addition, he would pay per the adopted in lieu fee of the $21,500 per unit, he would pay $473,000. So in essence, you're getting the value of 10 affordable units. I do agree with the point that they're not at the same level and there is a great need for low income. And as it relates to what account it goes into, that money is restricted to be used on affordable housing.
And that's key.
And it's with the city. So oftentimes we'll come and we'll help fund another project or we'll do our own affordable housing project. So it all goes back to affordable housing.
So so the city's benefiting from that for additional affordable housing.
Those funds are key to providing gap financing for a lot of 100% affordable homes.
Thank you, council members. Thank you, council.
Yes, and yes, thank you. So that being said, and I appreciate the responses to that and us having to revisit that. I do want to point out that looking at what's happening in front of us here, I said that I partially agree with what Councilwoman Basua brought up. It's certainly an important consideration, but looking at how market conditions did change, being empathetic to those conditions and knowing we live in an entire economy, the alternative is to have project not happen at all. And then that lot remains vacant and we have no units. And if there's concern that we're not going to meet our RETA numbers, well, if we're building 0, we're for sure not meeting it. So I just hope that point is addressed or people understand that that's what we're looking at here. Lastly, for Mr. Casillas specifically, if you look at the presentation that was posted ahead of time but couldn't be presented tonight per Measure M, there's been a number of public hearings and public meetings that this project has gone to. And to Mr. Casillas' credit, he's been very open and accessible to the Fremont South neighborhood. And I do have to credit him for that. And I know Mr. Partello was not at the meeting that actually happened with the Fremont South neighborhood. I was the chair at the time when this project started moving forward. He has been open, Mr. Casillas. He has been willing to speak with members of the community. And even as there's been all these delays, he has met with members who are residents of the community who live near to that property and worked with them on issues that were happening there. So that being said, this is all the totality of events and evidence we have here. I appreciate this coming forward so that the project can continue to move forward. And, there's no perfect solution to this, but I think this is probably one of the best outcomes we'll be able to get from this so that it benefits us getting more housing units and it also develops what was otherwise a vacant and derelict property. So when the time comes, I'm willing to make the motion on this item. Thank you.
You made the motion? I will second. Okay, the motion by Turan, second by Councilman Basua. Oh, go ahead, Councilman Perrella.
I'd like to make a comment. Mr. Partello asked specifically if there's an account for these affordable funds that they could be tracked. I'm assuming that he...
But we just, go ahead.
They answered the question.
Yes,
Okay,
we did.
So just want to put it that I asked the question. Mr. Partello asked the question. I'm asking it again. There is an account. Who does he touch base with? And when it was done, when the assistant city manager was asked, this was done according to legality, I want to ask that question of the city attorney, not put somebody else on the line.
Mr. City Chair.
So there is a specific housing and lieu fee account that the money gets deposited into. It's reported in the budget. When we appropriate out of it, we come here and council authorizes that appropriation out of the account.
I'm asking if that account number can be shared with Mr. Partello.
Sure. I don't know what today to be able to share it, but we can share that.
If I may say something, from time to time, we will see staff bringing that specific account number to us to appropriate to a different project. So it has been brought up to us before.
I understand, but I would just like to make sure that people in the public, when we sit for a city that they say is 207, but we know it's close to 250,000 people, and we get 2 people asking questions, they speak for a lot of people.
But
They
then
may not win elections, but they speak for a lot of people.
I understand.
And they deserve an answer.
That's a good point, and then lieu fee has been set up for that reason, you know.
And the second comment that I'd like to, the other speaker, I can appreciate that. I can appreciate his comment about, you know, parents going into debt for their children. The way of the world, there are actions that have taken place in the past, and one of them is SOAR. SOAR passed tremendously successful in this county. And that has limited the amount of things. The city is not in the business of buying property and building houses. The city is in the business of approving projects if they comply with whatever the rules are that are in place, and the council approves it. Which gets back to my comment a little bit different, excuse me, about the elevators. When we approve projects and they're gonna be new, brand new, and we find out that there are certain things that could have been done, but they cost more money, and over the life, sometimes it said 10 years, 20 years, sometimes 100 years, it would have been peanuts to put it in at the start of the project and would have benefited a lot of people. And those are just my comments. Thank you. Thank you to staff for the
Those are good points.
presentation.
Thank you.
So, Mayor, council member, so Ms. Golden has been working and staff have been working with the city attorney's office on these issues and the SB 330 issues, and Ms. Golden accurately described the way that law works and what it requires.
Thank you. And Mr. Fisher, I'm not challenging you. I just want to share with you and the public. There's only 2 people, that one of 7 council members hires, a city manager and a city attorney, both sitting on that side of the table. And when a question gets asked, and I think it should be one of the top people in the city to answer it, that's why I asked it. I have no challenge, no qualms with anything you're doing, but I think it's better because a lot of people come up and ask the same questions over and over and over. And I think I made the comment earlier, I don't know if it was heard when I was in another room, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. And you can give accurate information, and there will be people that will never believe it. And that's why I asked the question. Thank you.
Thank you, and I'm sure the staff's given us full disclosure. Councilman Turan.
Thank you, Mayor, for just an additional minute here. I did make notes about the second speaker as well for Mr. Alvarado. Just quickly, I want to say that I would invite him to visit parks throughout District 2, District 3, District 4, and District 5, where we have new playgrounds going in and new restrooms, including, I believe it's College Estates Park, which was referenced the one behind Challenge High School, which will be getting a new restroom to my recollection. That's not on this item, but he did speak on it, and I just wanted to very quickly, not get into extended discussion, but share that. I hope he will take the opportunity to visit those different parks. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we have first by Councilman Turan, second by Councilman Basua. Roll call.
Councilmember Basua?
Aye.
Councilmember Perrello? Yes. Councilmember Turan?
Yes.
Mayor Zaragoza?
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Thank you. So we're calling Mayor Pro Tem back from the back room. Mayor Pro Tem, can you hear us?
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
while we're waiting for him, I see Mr. Casillas has raised his hand as well.
Okay, Mr. Casillas, go ahead. We voted already, but go ahead and if you want to share a couple of words.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank you, Mayor, and the rest of the council members and the city staff. It has been a very laborious project. We're happy that we're getting to a point where we're going to hopefully be breaking ground in a couple of months. The moderate income unit, there's been a lot of discussion about affordable housing. Just because it is moderate, it doesn't mean that we're not going to try to sell them to low income families at 80% AMI or even maybe 90 or 100% AMI. We met with the Ventura County Community Foundation about grants that they have and that they can apply for. And we've also met with or identified some grants from the California Housing Finance Agency. So we are looking at trying to bring some, quite a bit of subsidy to help some of these moderate income buyers and these low income buyers actually access these properties, even though they are labeled as moderate income.
Thank you, Mr.
So we're excited about the project. It is a tight project. We've gone through 16 different lenders and we're down to one. So the budget is very tight. The project is considered marginal. So we want to thank you all for all the work that you've done, all the diligence. We're blessed to have another project here. We did very well with the 13 homes on H Street, so Heritage Homes. So we're excited about getting this one going forward and just wanted to thank everybody tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Casillas. Thank you. Okay. Just like to share, Madam Clerk, that we have Councilor Oscar Madrigal join us, 7:22.
Yes, Councilmember Madrigal has joined the meeting at 7:22 p.m.
Thank you. Our next item is Public Works Department, Second Amendment to the Professional Services Agreement, A 8294 with Brown and Caldwell for primary clarifiers and activated sludge basin improvement project PW 21-17. And the recommendations of the City Council approve and authorize the execution of the Second Amendment to a professional service agreement with Brown and Caldwell to increase not to exceed $1,173,413 to $1,212,473 for additional design and work required by the primary clarifiers and activated sludge improvements. This item is categorically exempt from the California Environmental Act pursuant to 14 CC and 15-306. And this item did not originate in committee. And again, this under Measure M was a pre-recorded item. And we do have Mr. Michael Wolf for the additional information, or Tatiana for additional information. Council members, any questions on this item? And I don't have, Madam Clerk, do we have any speakers or?
Mayor Zaragoza, there's no speakers virtually or in person for this item.
Mr. Mayor, if there's no comments or speakers, I would move the recommended action.
I will second.
Okay, we got a first and a second, but we have Councilman Turan, and then followed by Councilman Perez. Turan?
Thank you, Mayor. My apologies, I can't see who's in council chambers, but I did hear it's Mr. Wolf or Ms. Arnaud. And I'm wondering if they would be willing to just answer two questions. The first is, can they just summarize a little bit about what we have in front of us and what these the functions are? And then the second question is, which fund is going to pay for this?
Speak them for my speaker on. Go ahead, Anna.
Tatiana Arnaud, City Engineer, here to answer those questions, Councilmember Turan. So the item you have in front of you is a second amendment to our contract with Brown and Caldwell, who is our design engineer for the primary clarifiers and activated sludge tanks improvement project. Essentially, the second amendment is to add another $39,000 to the contract so that they can basically help us address some of the issues that we've identified at the 50% stage with our SCADA. So we have found that with just as we're digging into this project, there are some deficiencies with the existing system. And so this money will basically fund the design to get that to up to standard so that we can continue this project and move it forward. So that's what the item that you have in front of you today.
Okay, any additional
And
comments?
the fund that is going to be paying for this is, so this is actually out of the wastewater capital bond fund.
The utility fund,
Yes,
Yes.
for wastewater specifically.
okay.
Yes, and the wastewater fund, please correct me if I'm wrong, that is through the enterprise fund that the ratepayers pay into, is that correct?
Correct.
Self-supporting enterprise.
Yes, thank you. And the reason I ask that is whenever we have these major items come up for our wastewater facility, our wastewater system, I'm always reminded that back in, I believe it's 2015, when wastewater rates were an issue that the then council had to look at raising and hadn't been done historically in the past. It was certainly a contentious item, and it hurts to have a hard raise like that, but you know, it hadn't been done in a certain amount of time. And in the end, even after litigation and you know, a failed or a measure that was found to be in violation of state law, now because the ratepayers are paying the rates we have to keep this fund sustainable, we're able to do the things that we need to do to keep it moving along and serving this community. So I just wanted to the public to hear what this is, how their rates are serving them, and will continue to serve them moving forward. So I appreciate the answers, Ms. Arnaud. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Before we go with Councilmember Perella, this is, Tatiana, this is a health and safety issue. This is things that we have to do, you know, so it's really important. Water, wastewater, and refuse are extremely important, health and safety issues. Councilmember Perella?
Thank you very much. The only item that was missed was there was a failed recall, 4 of 5 council members. That was part of the whole enchilada. The issue that comes up with everything that has passed and happened, residents think that all of our utilities are fixed and up to speed. It might be beneficial in the future to just have a picture of a flow chart separate from the Measure M presentation, because the people that prevents the public from seeing what's going on because of Measure M prevent a flow chart from being here, which we could ask to be put up. Where do we stand with these improvements? Because people, quite a few people are thinking, wait, you did Measure E, you did Measure O, you're doing this, you did that, you got money coming out of your ears, you can do all kinds of stuff. They are very blind to see all the improvements that have been done in the city of Oxnard, but still blind to see what is still needed to be done for systems underground, which is, you know, I may look like a beauty queen, but if my veins and arteries are going to hell, I may drop dead in the next 5 minutes. So you can't have that for a city. And this is a suggestion going forward. Can you give us an idea? Where does this fit with respect to a potential completion of a specific thing? Because I know SCADA is involved with public works and water, and I know it's involved with sewer. I don't know if it's involved in any other enterprise fund. But where does this fit?
So this item in particular, so as far as SCADA goes, this is to upgrade the existing wastewater system, SCADA system, right? And as far as this project as a whole, where this lands in, like you're saying, the grand scheme of things or the big picture. So let me put it this way. We did the emergency repairs project a couple of years ago to address just the immediate needs, the things that were dire.
And that was, and just excuse me for butting in, and I apologize, but that was, I want you to repeat again what you said, emergency.
Correct.
Yeah.
So that was named our emergency repairs project at the wastewater treatment plant. Currently, we have under construction a $60-some-odd million reliability improvements project. So you could call this essentially phase 2 of a multi-phase approach to basically getting our wastewater plant back to where it needs to be. So while this isn't considered necessarily an emergency, it is something that we need to do now because this is infrastructure that has aged past its useful life. And so we are addressing a lot of that. This item that you have in front of you is in design right now because what we plan on doing is as soon as we're done with the reliability improvements project here in about 2.5, 3 years, this will follow that. So this is actually a continuation, if you will, of that reliability improvements project. And so that's where this fits in the grand scheme of things. And Councilman Perla, I love your idea or suggestion of kind of bringing in a flow chart of where we land on all of these things, and we'll make sure to do that in the next item that is related to any of these important reliability improvement projects.
Thank you very much. And I would just like to share this with my fellow council members. At one time when there was the arguments about, do we need to spend the money on the sewer plant? Do we need to do this? The emergency repairs that were needed, I held up a toilet seat and I said, when I go to the toilet and I flush it, I expect it to go somewhere else other than my house, and I expect it to be taken care of and treated safely and not pollute the beaches. And that's what gets into what's called reliability, which tangles into health, safety, and welfare. And that's what you guys are doing.
Correct.
The Public Works Department is not a drunken sailor on shore leave. And that is something that a lot of people seem to think is going on. It's a frugally run, highly efficient department with management that oversees it. And thank you for the work that you're doing. And thank you for the explanation.
Thank you. And Tatiana, you know, those plants, water, sewer, they require maintenance all the time. It's a continuous process that we have to maintain. There's a lot of mandates that go with that too.
Correct.
Thank you. Okay, so we have a first by Mayor Pro Tem, second by Councilor Basua. Please vote. Roll call.
Member Basua?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem McDonald?
Yes.
Councilmember Madrigal?
Aye.
Councilmember Perello? Yes. Councilmember Turan?
Yes.
Mayor Zaragoza?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, that's our last item. We are adjourned. Thank you.